Hello, my dear friend. Thank you for taking the time to visit this little corner. Perhaps you're watching this video for a reason, much like mine just a few years ago. Maybe you're feeling a little tired. You see, at 78 years old, like me, every morning used to be a struggle. I remember that feeling so clearly. My joints would creak like an old car that hadn't seen a mechanic in ages. My hands, they trembled, losing the grip strength I once took for granted. Even simple tasks like tying my shoelaces or just getting out of bed became surprisingly difficult. It felt as if my own body was no longer listening to me. It wasn't just the physical aches either. There was an invisible weight pressing down on my spirit, that sluggish, heavy feeling. It clung to me all day. I gradually lost interest in my old hobbies, no longer eager to go out and meet friends like before. Some days, just the thought of walking to the mailbox felt like climbing a mountain. I'd sigh and tell myself, well, this is just how it is when you get older. Everyone goes through it. I'd accepted that this fatigue, this aching, this feeling of being aged out was an inescapable fate. Perhaps you're feeling something similar? Maybe you're wondering, is there a way to feel lighter, more vibrant? To make your golden years truly golden instead of the gray so many imagine? But what if I told you there's a simple way? A tiny habit, so small you might have overlooked it, yet it holds incredible power to reignite that spark within you, to help you regain the energy, the clarity, and the joy of life you thought were gone for good. It's not a miracle pill, not an expensive supplement, not some complicated medical therapy advertised everywhere. No, this secret is far more familiar. It might be sitting right in your own kitchen, quietly waiting for you to discover and use it properly. I found it, and it has transformed my life in a remarkable way. No, it hasn't turned me back into my 20-year-old self. The wrinkles are still there, my hair is still gray, but it's given me something far more valuable than youth: vitality. The quiet conviction that each day is a gift and that this body is still worth cherishing and caring for. Are you curious? If you're over 60, or even just feeling like your best days are behind you, then this video might be the most important thing you watch today. Please, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might just feel more hopeful than you have in years. And I truly believe that's a gift worth giving yourself. You see, when the aches and fatigue kept clinging to me, I did what most of us do. I turned to medications. I remember having a literal pharmacy on my nightstand. This pill for my joints, that one for my digestion, and another to help me sleep a little better. Every time I visited the doctor, I'd come home with a few more boxes of pills, with names I could barely pronounce. Did those pills offer temporary relief? Yes, they did. But they were like bandages, masking the pain without truly healing or restoring my health from the inside. Every morning, I'd still wake up feeling heavy. My body just worn out. I didn't want to live like that forever. I didn't want my life to revolve around prescriptions and doctor's appointments. Then, one calm morning as I was having coffee with my daughter, she looked me straight in the eye and said something I'll never forget. "Dad, have you ever thought about changing your habits instead of just adding more meds?" Her words, they hit me. My daughter is passionate about natural health. She told me about ancient remedies, about real food, about pure oils, and the wisdom passed down by our grandparents. Things that didn't come in shiny boxes, but in simple glass jars or from the garden soil. She said that sometimes the most profound, effective solutions are found in the simplest, most natural things, proven by time. And then, almost as if life were nudging me, just a few days later, one of my neighbors, an older gentleman, probably my age, but incredibly vibrant, casually mentioned something that caught my attention. He said, almost in passing, that he'd been taking a natural oil every morning, and it had completely transformed how he felt. More energy, fewer aches. And what truly astonished me, he was sleeping deeply, without tossing and turning. At first, I'll admit, I thought he was exaggerating, or maybe he was just one of those lucky people with perfect genes. But deep down, a tiny spark of hope ignited. Something inside me said, why not look into it? So I did. I started my quest. I dove into videos, blogs, and forums made for people like us, folks who don't want to give up on their health just because we've passed a certain age. I joined online groups for older adults exploring natural health, asking questions, listening to stories. And slowly I learned there wasn't just one magical oil out there. There were many. Some helped with digestion. Others were praised for easing inflammation or boosting circulation. Some came from seeds, others from roots, a few even from fruit peels. I ordered several kinds to try. Some did nothing at all. A few made my stomach churn or left me feeling off. But I kept going. I kept a small notebook beside me, documenting every detail, how I felt after taking each one, how long it took for effects to show, if there were changes in my sleep, my energy, or even my mood. Days turned into weeks. Until finally, I tried one that didn't upset my stomach. In fact, it made me feel lighter. Not in an overwhelming or magical way, but like a fog had slowly begun to lift. It was subtle, but undeniable. There was a stillness in my mind, a sense of alertness in my body. Something inside quietly said, yes, this works. That was the moment I knew I needed to give this a real chance. No more random tests. I chose to commit, to make it a daily part of my life. I didn't know if the results would last, but I figured, what did I have to lose? And now, I think it's finally time to tell you the truth, to reveal the oil that changed the course of my days. It's not rare. It's not expensive. In fact, it's probably sitting in your kitchen right now, quietly waiting to be used properly. The secret is cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil. Yes, that's it. As simple as it sounds. But don't let that simplicity fool you, because chances are you're not using it the way your body truly needs. This is what most people don't realize. Not all olive oil is the same. In fact, most of what you see on grocery store shelves has already lost much of its nutritional power. I made this mistake myself in the beginning. I just went to the store, grabbed the first bottle that said healthy oil on the label, used it for a few days, and felt nothing. Later, I learned why. Many oils sold in big-name stores are processed. They're refined, mixed with cheaper oils, or exposed to high heat during production, which destroys the very compounds that make olive oil powerful in the first place. The key is choosing one that's both extra virgin and cold-pressed. Think of it this way. If you juice a fresh orange with a cold-pressed juicer, you get pure, vitamin-rich orange juice. But if you boil that orange first, would you get the same nutrients? Of course not. Olive oil is no different. Extra virgin. This means the oil comes from the first pressing of the olives, without chemicals or high heat. It retains its natural flavor, purity, and maximum nutrients. Cold-pressed. This ensures the extraction process doesn't use heat. This is crucial because high temperatures destroy the precious antioxidants, anti-inflammatory compounds, and healthy fats, the very things your body, especially after 60, absolutely craves. So why did I choose this oil over others? Why not something more modern or exotic, like they advertise on TV or social media? Because olive oil has stood the test of time. Centuries, from ancient Greece to modern-day blue zones like Sardinia, Crete, and southern Spain, regions where people regularly live into their 90s and beyond, this oil has been a consistent part of their daily diets. It's not a coincidence. It's tradition, backed by generations of real-life evidence. I've explored other oils too. Coconut oil, flaxseed oil, even trendy ones like avocado oil. And while they each have their benefits, none gave me the same clarity, lightness, and steady energy as extra virgin olive oil. It won its place in my routine, not just for what it does, but for how accessible and gentle it is. It's affordable, easy to find, and my body welcomed it, like an old friend. And here's the part that made it stick. I turned it into a ritual. Not a trend, not a hack, but a ritual, like brushing my teeth or washing my face. So, how do you turn a simple bottle of olive oil into a powerful part of your health journey? For me, it was by embracing it as a conscious daily act. Every morning, before breakfast, before coffee, sometimes even before speaking to anyone, I take 1 tablespoon of cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil. But I don't just gulp it down. I found that how you take it makes a difference. I take it on a completely empty stomach, and some mornings I'll follow it with half a glass of warm water with a few drops of fresh lemon juice. That little combo, a tablespoon of oil and warm lemon water, has done wonders for my digestion and energy levels. The oil goes down smoothly, it doesn't sit heavy, and it helps my body absorb every last drop of those precious nutrients. To be honest, the first few times I took a spoonful of olive oil, I expected it to be unpleasant. Just the idea of swallowing oil seemed strange, but I was wrong. A good quality olive oil, especially when it's cold pressed and extra virgin, has a surprisingly smooth, almost fruity flavor. It doesn't hit your stomach like something heavy. It goes down clean. And the most important thing, my body responded with gratitude. Within just a few minutes, I felt something shift. My digestion came alive. The usual morning bloat started to fade. And that heaviness in my limbs, it began to lift. Soon, I realized that the energy crashes I used to feel mid-morning, those waves of fatigue around 10 a.m. when my body would beg for coffee or sugar, were gone. I had a more balanced, steady energy that carried me through the morning without the roller coaster of highs and lows. What's funny is, I'd had olive oil in my kitchen my entire life. I used it for cooking, for salad dressings, sometimes even in marinades. But I'd never thought of it as a health ritual. I never saw it as a daily tool for vitality. That shift in mindset, making it a conscious daily act instead of just a cooking ingredient, was the game changer. But what truly surprised me was how my joints responded. I had become used to the stiffness, the aches, the groaning sounds from my knees every time I stood up. Climbing stairs was becoming a daily struggle. I never had a serious diagnosis, but I knew my joints were wearing down. Then, slowly, the pain in the mornings faded. I started getting out of bed without wincing. My fingers, which once moved like rusty hinges, began to flow with more ease. I went on longer walks. I didn't need to stop every few blocks to rest. And one day, I reached the top of the stairs in my building without grabbing the handrail. That small moment felt massive, because it wasn't just physical, it was emotional. I was learning to trust my body again. Even my sleep changed. I used to lie awake at night, turning over and over. I'd wake up multiple times and never feel rested. But as the days passed, my nights became deeper, quieter. I woke up refreshed, like I'd actually slept, not just passed time in bed. That shift in sleep, it improved my mood. I became more patient, less reactive. I found joy in the simple things again. It's hard to describe how a spoonful of oil in the morning can do so much, but it did. And when your body feels better, your perspective shifts. You stop being annoyed at everything. You start appreciating again your tea, the morning sun, a good conversation. Let me be clear. This oil didn't turn back the clock. I'm still 78. I still have wrinkles, white hair, and slow mornings. But it gave me back something far more valuable than youth. It gave me vitality. It restored that internal flame, that quiet conviction that this body is still worth caring for, that this day, right now, still holds meaning. And that is more powerful than any miracle they sell in a bottle. Yes, the physical benefits came first, but what truly caught me off guard was what happened in my mind. For years, I'd felt foggy. I'd open my eyes in the morning, and though I was technically awake, it was like my brain was still sleeping. It took time to switch on. Coffee didn't fix it. I lived with that slow start every single day, until I didn't. I used to struggle to concentrate. Little things would slip from my mind, names, dates, where I left my glasses. Reading a book became a challenge, not because of my vision, but because I couldn't hold on to what I read. The words would drift out of my mind as quickly as they came in. But just a few days after I started taking the olive oil each morning, I noticed something surprising. A new kind of mental clarity. It didn't hit like a lightning bolt. It wasn't magic, but it was real. Gradually, my thoughts became sharper. I remembered things more easily. Conversations flowed naturally again, without those awkward pauses where I'd try to recall someone's name or a detail I'd just heard. My mind felt less cluttered. That lightness I'd started to feel in my stomach. I began to feel it in my head, too. The noise, the fog, the static. It started to fade. I could sit down with a book and actually enjoy it. I could watch a movie without losing track of the plot. Even writing a note didn't feel like a task anymore. I wasn't second-guessing every word. I was present again. And that shift in mental focus, it brought something deeper, emotional balance. When you start your day with a small, intentional act that nourishes you from the inside, it gives you structure. It gives your morning a purpose. It's as if you're telling your body and your mind, today, I'm showing up for us. Today, I'm choosing to care. And that feeling, that sense of direction, does something powerful to your spirit. I remember the first time I felt it. I was reorganizing my bookshelf one morning, something I hadn't done in years. Another day, I stepped out for a walk in my neighborhood. No destination, No errands, just walking, like I used to when I was younger. Little by little, I started bringing back parts of my life that I'd let go of. Not because I didn't want them, but because I thought I didn't have the energy for them anymore. And it wasn't just about getting things done. Every small victory, climbing stairs without pain, sleeping through the night, waking up refreshed, began to rebuild something I hadn't realized was crumbling: my self-worth. I looked in the mirror, and even though the reflection hadn't changed much, still the same wrinkles, the same silver hair, I felt like I was seeing someone return. Not youth in the superficial sense, but something deeper, the sense of ability, of presence. Sometimes age doesn't take away your desire. It just takes away your belief that you can. But when you get back even a bit of your strength, a spark of mental clarity, that belief starts to return. You start wanting again, trying again. I remember sitting down to write letters to my grandchildren, something I'd stopped doing because my thoughts felt scattered, my hands unsteady. But now, the words came easier. My thoughts were clearer. I wrote with emotion, with warmth, with energy I hadn't felt in a long time. And their replies came back full of joy, grateful to hear from the grandpa they remembered. That connection, that bridge between generations, came back to life. And it all started with a tablespoon of oil first thing in the morning. It might sound insignificant, but for me, that one small act became the gateway to a better version of myself. A version that's more awake, more joyful, more ready to live this day fully, no matter how many candles are on the cake. And if that's not real change, then I don't know what is. Of course, not everything that shines is gold. As much as this oil has brought me benefits, I've learned, both from experience and from other stories, that there are mistakes people make that can reduce the benefits or even cause new problems. The first, and probably the most common, is using low-quality oil. I made this mistake myself in the beginning. I just went to the grocery store, grabbed the first bottle that said healthy oil on the label, used it for a few days, and felt nothing. Later, I learned why. Many oils sold in big-name stores are processed. They're refined, mixed with cheaper oils, or exposed to high heat during production, which destroys the very compounds that make olive oil powerful in the first place. If you're going to do this, do it right. The oil has to be extra virgin, cold-pressed, and pure. Nothing diluted, nothing light or refined. Those versions have been stripped of the properties your body actually needs. Think of this as an investment in your health. A good quality oil will often have a darker green hue and might give a slight peppery sensation in your throat when consumed. That's a sign of beneficial polyphenols. Another mistake is overdoing it. I thought if 1 tablespoon was good, 2 must be better. Big mistake. More is not always better, even with something healthy. Taking too much, even of something beneficial, can lead to side effects. I'm talking digestive discomfort, bloating, or even sudden changes in your blood lipid levels, especially if your body isn't used to it. That's why I keep it simple and consistent, just 1 tablespoon a day. And this last point is incredibly important. This video is meant to share my personal experience. It is not professional medical advice. Everybody is different. Some people have liver conditions, gallstones, or sensitivities that require professional guidance. This is crucial. If you are currently on medication or on a controlled diet, it's always smart to check with your doctor or a healthcare professional first before making any changes to your diet or adding any new supplements. I remember a close friend of mine who started taking coconut oil every day, thinking it would help, but his cholesterol levels spiked. The oil wasn't the problem. His body just had different needs. So please, listen to your own body. Not every natural remedy fits every person. That's why my recommendation is simple. Start slowly. You don't need to flip your life upside down overnight. Begin with half a teaspoon. Let your body speak. Pay attention to how you feel, not just physically, but emotionally too. Are you sleeping better? Feeling more energized? Is your digestion smoother? The key is to listen. Don't treat this advice as some magic formula. Think of it as an invitation to try something natural and powerful, but with awareness and respect. Because at the end of the day, wisdom isn't about copying what others do. It's about understanding what your body needs and acting with care. And now that we've come this far, there's something I want to tell you, something I've learned over the years. This is not magic, it's consistency. Don't expect instant miracles. This isn't a pill that changes everything in a day. It's a small act of self-care that, done with intention and regularity, can reshape how you feel, inside and out. I didn't wake up one day feeling 20 years younger. At first, it was just a slight improvement in my digestion. Then I noticed more energy. Then my joints started hurting less. And eventually, my mood shifted. I smiled more, moved more, felt alive again. And it all began with one spoonful. So today, I want to genuinely invite you to try it for yourself. Don't commit to a year or even a month. Just give it 1 week, 7 days. Each morning, on an empty stomach if you can, or however works best for you. Watch your body. Pay attention to the details. See how you feel when you wake up. Notice your digestion. Notice your energy. And most importantly, notice your mood. Don't underestimate the power of small habits. Sometimes, the simplest things are exactly what your body has been asking for all along. Because the real impact isn't just the oil. It's what the oil represents. A conscious choice to care for yourself. A quiet moment of connection. A gesture of respect for the body that's carried you through every year of your life. We may not get the lost years back, but we can absolutely reclaim the life inside the years we still have. Life is a journey. And every day is a fresh opportunity for you to live more fully. If you do try it, and you feel even the smallest difference, I hope you'll share your story. Let us know in the comments how it went, what you felt, what you noticed, because your experience might just inspire someone else to start their own journey. Before I go, I want to leave you with one final question. Are you willing to give yourself this gift? Not for me, not for anyone else, for you, because you deserve it. And if you've made it this far, thank you. Thank you for your time, for your trust, and for letting me share this moment with you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you'd like more content like this. Real human stories grounded in experience. I'll see you in the next one.